Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be filming and sharing with you part 2 of my hydroponics tower build. Now this video is going to be a continuation and a more advanced build of the tower that I built in part 1, which you can check out in the link above. Now in this version, we're going to take the single hydroponics garden tower and expand it to a 4-tower assembly, which can grow and accommodate upwards of 132 plus plant pods, which should allow you to have a huge variety of vegetables and fruits you can harvest year-round. Now in this build, I also apply a lot of the improvements and enhancements based on the lessons that I learned from the first build. This one should be more stable, more efficient, and better constructed for less maintenance and better durability. Stay tuned. So after the first build, I started experimenting on some of the extra pieces that I had left over from the first build. But before we go in and start working on the second version of the build, let's go ahead and revisit the first single tower that I built and see what progress has been made. Now to start off, I already went ahead and cut 4 4-inch PVC pipes down to size. And if you remember correctly from the first video, these are about 5 feet in height, which I think is the right size for the hydroponics tubes because it allows you to look over the top and manage all the crops up to an eye level. Now I've also already taken my template, which I created in part 1, to draw out all of the cut markers for the pod holes. So now it's just a matter of cutting them, heating them, and making the holes for all the pots. And just to add, aside from this template that I created and used in part 1, I've gone and created a new template using a clear laminate material. What this does is it allows me to be more efficient and better see the lines so that I'm not constantly shifting the template up and down until I accidentally am able to line up the previously drawn lines to draw out my next set of guidelines. Now when cutting the slits for the pipes in part 1, every single cut was different. So we had some pods that sat deep, some that sat shallow, and some that were sitting partially. Every slit was different, even though I cut against lines that I drew. So for a better quality and consistent look, I'm now setting a cut level using the stopper on my miter saw. This makes sure all cuts are exactly the same and consistent throughout the entire build. Now once that's done, I'll move on to heating and creating the holes where the pods will sit. I also improved this process as well by cutting an edge into a 2-inch pipe to use as my guide for creating the holes. Not only does this ensure consistency, but it also allows me to cut 1 centimeter rings from this 2-inch PVC to add a reinforced lip, which will allow the pods to sit comfortably and to also stop water from flowing out of the tower, which was causing me to lose a lot of water and having to refill more frequently in the first build. Now I know I'm speeding through this, but most of the basic build details can be found in my first video. Now, spending more time on the base of this tower system, the bucket was adequate, but on the first night, a strong gust of wind blew the tower over, which makes sense since the bucket had a thin plastic cover which was the only thing holding up the tower. I went ahead and made improvements by adding a reinforced hard plastic acrylic cylinder to the top, but for a 4-tower system, that wouldn't be enough. In addition to improving the stability and the aesthetic look of the tower, I also wanted to get rid of the bucket reservoir. So with that in mind, I'm using standard PVC connectors to build out the base for this 4-tower system. Now when you're done creating all of your pod holes and all 4 towers are complete, you're going to go ahead and take your 2-inch pipe and you're going to start cutting your 1 centimeter rings, which will sit in each of these pod holes. Now the purpose of each of these rings, and this is something that I learned from the first build, is to keep each pod in place. It also creates a seal to keep water from spilling out of the sides of the hydroponic towers through the pod holes. Now this will ensure that you aren't constantly needing to refill the unit with water. So let's go ahead and cut some rings. Now for that, we're going to take our 4-inch pipe and we're going to cut about 8 inches. Definitely want safety first, because I did learn the hard way that, you know, PVC can explode. So when you cut down to pieces about this small, you're either going to want to go slow and very cautiously and make sure you're wearing protective equipment, or you're going to want to toss it away. And the reason why is because they can explode. And this happened to me during this build, so you want to kind of be careful. Okay, so first things first, you're going to want to lay out your build. So you've got this one, got your T, you've got another T, you've got this one, you've got this T, and then you've got this T. And you're going to make sure you want to use your PVC cement because you don't want any leaking. So you've got your primer and then you've got your cement. So basically the way it works is you're going to fit it in here, you're going to secure one end, and then you're going to secure the other end into the other side. Then you're going to take another piece, you're going to do the same thing. So now you've essentially got something like this. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to take the next inch, just going to put the nice side up, secure it in, and we're going to put the other side in like so. Okay, so now you've essentially got this. Another piece in this end. If you're not going to use the PVC primer and cement, you can go ahead and use silicone, just as long as there's something there to make sure it doesn't leak out of the cracks. Because you want this to be your new water reservoir. So all the water will be stored in these pipes and up in this tube. And then all of your towers will fit into the 4 ends. This end and this end. Okay, so once you've got the base complete and you've got all 4 towers complete, it's simply a matter of attaching the 4 towers to the base. And what's good about this base is you can easily remove these towers if needed to perform any kind of maintenance or transportation of the entire unit itself. So each tower is independent and fits directly right into the base for easy installation. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these drains to each of the bottoms of the base, because over time, some roots are going to fall off and I don't want that getting into the reservoir, the pipe reservoir system. So these are going to help to catch all those roots, and on occasion you can go ahead and remove the towers themselves and just remove the drain and any kind of waste that falls off from the plants themselves. Now it's not going to stop everything, but it'll catch at least most of the bigger pieces of debris that falls off the plants themselves or the roots themselves. So let's see if I can get this open. And these are your standard shower drains, so you can get these at any hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot. And this one's about 4 inches to match the 4-inch hole that it's going to fit into. And basically, you just place that down into that hole because there's a lip to hold it, and then you place the PVC on top of it then you place your tower on top of it to secure it in place. It'll still filter and allow water to flow through to refill the reservoir as it cycles through, but it'll capture any kind of large debris that might clog up your pump. So once that's done, we're going to want to install the pump. And the pump we're using is your standard fish tank pump, just like in part 1. And just like everything else I'm using in this build, I'll link to it in the description section below. So we're going to take what we did in part 1 and take this 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch adapter, screw it in, and this will allow us to attach the 1/2 inch PVC pipe to it. You want to screw it in securely. Okay, so you're going to take your pump and you're going to put it inside the center shaft, which you have open here. And because this pump fits just perfectly, you're going to want to feed the wire through and secure it inside before you attach this adapter. And what's good about this pump is it's got suction cups for feet, so it will stick to the bottom. It's also pretty bottom heavy, so it'll stand upright. You're going to want to make sure that the pump's hole is placed in right in the center of this device, and then you're going to put the adapter and screw that in. That adapter is going to hold the 1/2 inch PVC pipe that's going to stick out of this to feed the entire system water. And then next you're going to take this long 1/2 inch PVC pipe and you're going to cut it down to about 5.5 feet, which should be just long enough to hover above this system itself to distribute water to all 4 towers. So the next step is to build an assembly that attaches to my system that will not only allow me to add stability to my water delivery pipe, but it'll also allow me to run my power cord, perform maintenance repairs easier, and also add water easily while keeping the entire system secure and free from debris. Okay, so the next thing we want to cut are these lids. And these are going to go to the top of the towers where it's going to be where the water distribution pipes are going to go through. So you want to drill a hole right in the middle. If we use a drill just to drill these holes, it won't be big enough. So what we're going to need to do is I created a template for this. And what you can do is you can take it off so you can remove the cap itself. But what this is going to do is it's going to hold this in place. Okay, while you drill the holes. And then we've got another guide that's just going to spin around basically and allow us to not go all over the place when we're drilling these holes. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick this into the middle. And then we're going to step on it. And we're going to until we're essentially through. See, so you're going to drill a perfect hole in the center. And then you're just going to pop it out. And then you've got a perfect hole in the center. Just to make sure, we're going to sand it off a little bit. And round this off. And we're done. And what you're going to do when you have this hole, you're going to take this. Next we have this cap where the 1/2-inch pipe is going to come out from. I'm going to put that into our thing, and this time I'm going to use a new tool that I picked up, which should be good for drilling up to. Okay, so we're going to put that in the center. See, this does a much better job. There you go. And this is where this PVC pipe is going to go through. So for this step, I'm going to take my angled pipe attachment. I'm going to take a couple of PVC that I cut at about 5 inches. I'm going to attach it to the top. Then I'm going to attach it to the bottom. Then I'm going to take this, which has the screws. I'm going to attach that to the top. And then this end, I'm going to attach a cap. Then with this, it allows me to take this thing that I screwed, screw it onto the top. Now I don't know if it'll work, but I have my caps, and then I've got these rain sprinkler systems, which distribute water 360 degrees all around. So we're going to take this, we're going to screw it on and attach it to the top of these, so I can control the amount of water as well that I want. So I'll go ahead and take that off, and this, so I can also control the amount of water I want to disperse. So I can do a lot or a little bit of water, or no water at all. Now with the assembly complete, I'm going to attach this to the system. Now I'm probably not going to cement this down and make it permanent because I want to be able to easily remove this to do maintenance and perform any kind of repairs on the lower half of the tower system. Instead, what I'll do is I'll probably just attach this and then add a little bit of silicone to make sure that it's watertight so that water isn't leaking out of the system itself. So the way we're going to attach this to the system is we're going to take the cap off of where I'm going to feed the wires. I'm going to feed the power cable through this angled port, and I'm probably going to cut a slit so the cable can come in so I can put the cap on. Run the cable out and then place it down. Now I'll probably silicone this bottom half right here so that water doesn't leak out. So what's good about this is now I can take the lid off, unscrew the lid, take my 5.5 feet pipe, slide it on the lid, and attach it to the pump itself, and then screw the lid down, which gives it an extra support to make this a little bit more stable and secure. Now at the top of this, I'm going to take these 1/2-inch 5-way splitters, if I can open it. So this 5-way splitter, I'm going to attach it to the top of the pipe, and this I'll probably have to cement down because this can be a permanent fixture. Angle it a little bit towards each of the different towers, and then I'll need to measure it to determine the distance. So we'll say right here to the center. So that's about 17 inches to the center. So I'll cut 4 17-inch pieces of pipe and we'll attach it to that 5-way splitter. Okay, now with my 17-inch pipes cut, it's just a matter of attaching it to that 5-way splitter at the top. And for these, I'm going to add cement because, you know, anywhere that can potentially leak water, I want to make sure it's secure. Right? Okay, and onto each of those, I'm going to add these L-shaped connectors because they're going to hook down so the water can flow downwards. Okay, so after that's done, we take our lids that we cut holes into and attach the 1/2-inch connectors to, and we place them on the top. And we're going to need to cut pipe for this. So measuring, let's say it's a good 3 inches should be good enough. So we're going to cut 3-inch half pipes for that. Okay, so once those 4-inch end caps are cut, you're going to attach them to the top of them, and that should finish off this project. So we're going to attach them. And then the final piece to my evil build. And it is done. Now this is the almost completed build of my 4-tower hydroponic system. The last step is to apply this glossy white primer and finish to make this thing stand out. All right, so now that we're finished with this product, what you see here is the new and improved design that we've made. So as you can see, it's got 4 towers. All the pots sit securely inside, and water flows through all 4 towers, so all pods are getting an equal amount of water. So what's good about this design is it's freestanding and very sturdy versus what the old model was. So I'm probably going to incorporate what I learned from this one into the single tower model and use the piping and attachments as the base as well, because it retains water pretty well and it keeps the system enclosed. So what's good about this also is the rings that we created for each of the internal pockets for each of the pods is keeping the water in the tube so that there's no leakage anywhere. And the easy access tube that we built allows for stability for the water delivery system and also allows us to easily fill this thing with water. It also allows for easy cable management so that the power cord can be tucked out of the way. So probably what I'm going to do in the third video is update the single tower build using a lot of what I learned in the 4-tower build and update the base of the single tower to incorporate the base of the 4-tower build. That'll add stability, convenience, and overall just a better look for the tower itself. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to get a list of all the parts that I used, check out the description section below. I'm currently still working on my website where you'll be able to find links to the spec sheets as well as the measurement sheets and the templates that I used, so stay tuned for that. And if you don't want to build your own, you'll eventually be able to purchase one of these 4 towers or the updated single towers on my website at a fraction of the cost that the larger manufacturers are charging. Anyways, I'll continue to share any progress or updates that I make to these towers and in the progress of the plants themselves in some of my next few videos. Please go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe, and go ahead and click that bell icon so you can get notified when I post new content. Until next time, see ya.